Oh goodness, I can't see anything. Good morning. Hey, gosh, sorry, I didn't realize it was 9 o'clock. We're sitting here talking. Timmy's been coughing this morning. Well, he's been coughing a lot anyhow, with everything, all the dust, the fires, and everything else. Uh, they can't see us, Timmy.
Amber's turning on the light. It's hanging there.
I'm sorry, I didn't think we'd need it so bright this morning.
No.
Oops. Hang on, someone done stepped on the cord. Can you see now?
Yeah.
Can you see?
I can't see.
Yeah, there you can see. Good morning. How are y'all? There we go. So if you're just joining us for the very first time, good morning, Sherry. Hey, Steve. Steve, I got your message about MeWe. I got it like at 4 o'clock this morning, so I didn't have a chance to reply. But I will, and I completely support your decision. And I went in MeWe this morning, and some guy spamming the whole thing. So I'm going to have to do some crowd control, if that makes sense. Okay, sorry, off track. Good morning. If you're just joining us for the very first time, I apologize in advance. This is not rehearsed, this is not scripted. We're just having coffee with y'all. We're two of the five Bradshaw family members that moved from the city off grid here in East Tennessee in the Smoky Mountains. And you just accidentally found our coffee channel.
Everybody take a sip.
So, what is this about? Just our life. That's it. We sit and chit chat. Sometimes God puts something on our heart that we want to talk about, life events, homestead life, off grid life, and that's it.
We try not to womp too much.
I've had my days of want want. You've had your days of want want. I've had my weeks of want want. If you don't know what want want is, it's like the Charlie Brown show where all the adults are when they're talking. That's it. Uh, Sherry says, hot coffee in a chilly morning, nothing better. Amen to that, Sherry. Um, Saturday, since we do our coffee at 9 now instead of 8, that we used to have coffee. And when we first started this, it was like at 4 o'clock in the morning because Morgan had to catch the bus at 5, our daughter. And then we switched it because church, our Sunday school church was too close to the time that we did our live, and we were just catching and fetching. But now I typically start my coffee at 6 o'clock in the morning. So by the time I have coffee with y'all, I'm like, but this morning is different.
Yeah.
Steve said 20 degrees here in Michigan.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Steve, if you and Mary Lou want to come in and stay some winter with us, you're more than welcome. We'll put you to work. We'll put you to work, but you're more than welcome because that's crazy talk.
It'll be here 20. It'll be 20 degrees here before long.
But it doesn't stay that way, which I'm very thankful for. So I hope y'all had a happy Thanksgiving. We had an amazing time. I didn't have to cook. Well, I know I made my share. Everybody brings a dish to pass. But Ashlyn, our daughter-in-law, her mother and grandmother and sister invited us to their house.
Yeah.
And it was our first time, and it's about 2 hours away. We brought sides and stuff, and it was nice and enjoyable. Of course, we will have our Thanksgiving Sunday tomorrow. Tomorrow. Everything. Because our kids were all working. So tomorrow, and Ashlyn is working tomorrow, but she's coming after work. And that brings me to that kind of topic that I've been wanting to talk about. I didn't even talk to you about it because we got the fire started, and Timmy went and fed the animals. Hence his coughing. If you don't know, raising livestock, it's a nasty job sometimes. It's not sometimes. It's a nasty job a lot of times. And then him working with the sawdust, the fires that we've had. Oh gosh, we'll talk about the fires next week. Um, and the sawdust that he works with all the time have created this nice little nonstop. And so we need to be proactive about his lung health. And we'll discuss that because we've got an appointment with an allergist or an ENT specialist Monday. Wait, Sherry just said something nasty. Monday and Tuesday is going to hit 20 degrees here. See, I said Sherry just hit something that said something nasty. Stop it, Sherry. No, Sherry's my meteorologist. She keeps me in track, which I'm so thankful for because I don't get the news and all that stuff.
Well, there you go.
See, ask and you shall
Yeah.
receive. Right there with Steve and his wife. Um, moving forward, what I wanted to talk about though was our here we go. You ready? Is our food making us sick? And here's what prompted that. Before I left our Thanksgiving dinner, I had a splitting headache, and I knew it was a chemical headache. And not their fault, not blaming them. It was something I brought, I believe, to tell you the truth. I grew up in a generation that TV dinners and the food additives and everything started to really take hold. And I remember when we got McDonald's in the town next to we only had one stoplight in our town. It was like a town over. And we thought, that was the greatest thing. The microwave came out when we were growing up. You remember getting one? They were
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
And it was all about the moms working then. And it was kind of like the destruction of the home. You know, we quit saying the Pledge of Allegiance, prayer was taken out of schools, and then it just, catalyst into bigger events. But every year there's a massive decline in farms and people that are growing their own food, and it's just been horrific ever since. Ever since, not every. One moment. Thankfully, though, and I say thankfully in a thankfully, non thankfully kind of tone, I have been very allergic to most chemicals and additives and preservatives my whole life. And I'm a very stubborn, and I'm where people were glutton for punishment. And in spite of my adverse effects, I still persevere and eat all the crap that's bad for me. That said, yesterday morning, I woke up with a huge headache. I could feel my brain swelling inside my head, and not in a good way. And my eyes were puffy. I could see the bottoms, this little part right here. I could see it, like looking down. Typically, you're not supposed to see that part of your face. Can you? So by the evening, we had leftovers. Should have known better. And we go to watch a Christmas movie, and my eyes started swelling. I get bubbles in my eyes. I break out in hives. I haven't been able to eat McDonald's, well, pretty much my whole life. I would get violently sick growing up, and the doctor told my mom it was all up here. And so she took me to a psychiatrist. Not that I didn't need it, but it didn't help my food allergies. And so I've learned ish what foods I can have and what foods I need to avoid. Anyhow, that's it. You can chime in at any time
Well, I
because I
mean, I
know you
think
feel that
really
way.
deep down, we all know what's good for us and what's bad for us. But convenient. I think out of convenience, sometimes we
Convenience and
just,
addiction.
yeah, it's something that we think in our mind, oh, it just tastes so good, or it's easy to fix, and
We
we
don't have
just,
time.
yeah,
We don't have time is the biggest misconception. And convenience, and and on the other one, good food costs more. Cheap food, it's cheap for a reason. And we've done studies. We all know better. The poor nutrition in the lower economy, in the lower areas, has a direct correlation with a decline in cognitive function, increased obesity, increased sickness. I mean, I can't even I don't even know the exact numbers, how much sickness has increased, disease, ADHD, autism, cancer, obesity, strokes, heart attacks, all of that stuff. But I know the area that you can pinpoint it to is when we started to pull away from whole foods, natural foods, exercise, and started incorporating all these preservatives and chemicals and things that we spray on our grass, our gardens and food production, all in the name of convenience and feeding the world. I think that's when it started. You can feed the world if you make it last longer, property and all that stuff. And it's all a bunch of hooey.
Well, I mean, if you go in a grocery store, I think about, I mean, I'm not sure about this percentage, but probably 85, 90% of the stuff that's in the grocery store is in a box.
Oh, yeah. And our
And you just got
choices.
that one little produce
Yeah.
section. And how do you shop from something like that? I mean, it's
Well, when we went to that food class at the grocery store, they said the healthiest food is on the perimeter. Stay out the aisles. Shop the perimeter of the store, not the aisles.
yeah,
And, just as even when our kids were young, what was it? Those little frozen foods that we used to feed the kids all the time.
yeah.
They're not lean
I'm
cuisine. What's
not
it
going to
called?
say the name because it just,
And then you get the little packets that you just open up the lunchbox since the kids won't eat the
yeah,
school food, and you pop in a package this, a package that, a package this, because Lord knows if you make them healthy lunch, they won't eat it, they'll throw it away or they'll trade it with a friend or whatever, and it's a vicious cycle. And so our kids in their developmental stage are eating junk, sugar, gluten, junk, no nutritional value, but we're not any different.
no, we're not. And
But it's not all our fault. Those foods are meant to be addictive. But here's another thing: once you get addicted to them, you're in this brain fog. And if you ever had your ears pop and you didn't know that they were clogged to begin with, we were just talking about that. I said, my ears have been clogged. And I said, I don't know it until it pops. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can hear now.
yeah,
And you don't even know that it was clogged before.
yeah,
That's how we are with this brain fog that we're in. You don't realize that you're in that fog and you're not able to think clearly until you've had a clean diet for at least 30 days. And I mean clean. And then you wake up one day and you're like, oh my gosh. It reminds me of here I'm dating myself again. It is Pete's Dragon. And in Pete's Dragon, if you've never seen it, there's a clip in there where this guy's selling medicine. He is a scam artist. He goes town to town selling fake medicine. And he does one about this miracle medicine, and his sidekick is dressed up as an old lady, and she's like, huh? And she puts this little, thing in her ear so she can hear. And he puts the medicine in it, goes like that. She's like, I hear it's a guy dressed up as old lady. Birds singing. I see, during you don't
I
remember
never
that.
watched Pete's Dragon.
Okay, now I'm on a mission to have him watch Pete's Dragon.
Okay.
Well, that's how it's like when you come out of that brain fog. You don't you don't realize how much your food had affected
Yeah.
you beforehand. A very appropriate conversation for today. The ketovore carnivore lifestyle has given us amazing results. And Sherry was starting to share that testimony with us when I saw her and Jacques last about how that works for him. And Sherry, I'm very happy that that diet works for you. And there's a lot of amazing different ways of eating that help the individuals thrive. Like Morgan, our daughter, went on with us on a keto diet. Now, of course, that's when it first come out and it was all the rave and everything. And I firmly believe there's not a one size fits all. And the keto diet made me and Timmy, and we were extremely diligent. We went through the keto flu and all that, but we were already like over 3 months in it, and it made me very sick. It almost killed a neighbor of ours who is diabetic. However, that said, Morgan thrived on it. Like, she didn't need to lose weight. She didn't do it. She did it for health, and she thrived on it. So you do have to be careful when choosing a diet, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a carnivore diet or any of them, unless they have a bunch of preserved foods like um well, I'm not going to name a bunch of names because that's when you can get in trouble. But there's several diets out there that just want you to buy their prepackaged foods.
Yeah.
So moving forward, yesterday, last night, I started to get the headache. My head hurt. My eyes started swelling up. I took a Benadryl, and all the Benadryl does is it knocks you out and tells your body not to react to something bad that you're eating. And in the middle of the night, woke up with a splitting headache. My eyes are still puffy. I got bubble under here that I saw this morning still. And I'm like, it wasn't something they did. It's something I did. I made the gravy, right? And I didn't have the turkey drippings because I didn't cook turkey. So I bought the packets and they're loaded with MSG, which instantly gives me reactions. That's just one of the many things. I'm allergic to yeast. And the more and more I read about the wheat products that we have here in the States, the more I'm convinced that those wheat products are making us all very sick. Because if you go to other countries, they don't have the same issue that we have, but they don't allow the crap in their food that we allow. So I got out two things that most people use in their Thanksgiving dinner: cream of mushroom soup and a gravy packet. I know for a fact, I bet I'm making my own cream of mushroom soup for quite a while now. And it's so easy to do. When you say, well, I don't have time, I can seriously get my stuff out and have it ready to eat in less than 10 minutes, right? Versus driving all the way to the grocery store is an hour trip for us there and back, buying it, standing in line, coming home, opening the can, heating it up. That doesn't save time. So if you say, well, I don't have time, that's crazy talk. So let's just go on the regular cream of mushroom soup. Everybody loves this in their what? Green bean casserole, on their roast, what have you. Vegetable oil, which is your highly processed rancid oils. It just is. Oh, this is what I ask you to do. You're like, if you're hearing us for the first time, you're like, I don't believe her. She's full of it. Our food's not making us sick. I challenge you to go in your pantry and get out any boxed packaged food that you have and look at the ingredients, just one can, and investigate each ingredient and what it does, their side effects, and what else it's used for. Like, is it used in cosmetics? Is it used in paint? Is it used in cleaners? Is it used wartime? I'm not lying. And then ask yourself, why is it in your food? Okay, so it's corn, canola, and or soybean, modified cornstarch. Y'all need to research modified cornstarch and what that means. What is modified cornstarch? And I'm just going to do a little typical thing. There are starches used in the pharmaceutical industry for various reasons. And this right here is on drugs.com. Okay. This isn't even a food website, it's drugs.com. Modified starch is used in aspirin, Alka-Seltzer, ciprofloxacin. A lot of these I can't pronounce.
It's a long list.
It is a very long list. But anyways, it's in your soup here. Wheat flour, which we all just talked about that just a little bit. Salt, whey, more soy protein concentrate, monosodium glutamate, yeast extract, flavoring, and garlic. They don't have to disclose what their flavoring is, by the way, because they're protected on their little trademark and patent. Now, let's go to our gravy packet. Enriched wheat flour. They say enriched because they bleach the flour with bleach and they take all the nutrients out and then they put stuff back in that should have been in there all along. Nice and reduced iron, mononitrate, riboflavin, enzyme, folic acid, cornstarch, whey powder, hydrolyzed corn protein, yeast extract, rendered chicken fat, disodium isonate, disodium glutamate, spices, colors, natural flavors. At the very end thing is natural flavors and silicone dioxide. Silicone dioxide. Silicone dioxide. Hang on just a second. I was looking on irritability. Oh, that's folic acid. Oh yeah, and they have folic acid in here too, because that's part of the wheat thing that they spray on our wheat fields. And folic acid, one of the side effects is confusion.
Hmm.
And that is on I was on the Mayo Clinic this morning too. Those are just two of the things, y'all. And you think about the whole meal that you're eating as a whole. What is that doing to you?
Well, I think as a meal, we're eating it, and it brings. I think it's going to bring the levels up with all these ingredients to a point where your body is just it doesn't know what to do with it. I mean,
Well, and it's not nutrition. It's not nutrition. It's filling your stomach. And people think, oh, well, they're we're feeding them, like feeding the poor, this processed food. That's good enough.
yeah, I think yeah, we're to the point now when we eat. I think we eat for the flavor and the
And
taste of
people,
things, and yeah, and to be yeah
not to feed us nutritionally.
yeah, and it's
And what not let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. I mean, I was just watching a clip the other day where in the Bible it was talking about what herbs were for, and it's in this and it's in scripture, and I don't have the scripture in front of me. I can't quote it. I tell y'all, I am in a brain fog right now. Because then I'm allergic to yeast. I found that out at the allergist because I thought it was a gluten thing and it's a yeast thing, but it could be a gluten thing too because I can have sourdough that is fermented and be okay. It doesn't do this to me. And I want to get to that point and maybe we can help each other. Good morning, honey. How are you? Oh, good morning. Um, while you're young, I watched Sky King as the Lone Ranger. Good morning. We watched Lone Ranger. Of course, there was reruns by the time I watched it, but we talked about that. We've been playing a game with the kids. I'm going off a rabbit hole here. We've been playing a game with the kids, old versus new, which is hilarious. And we ask them questions about our generation, and they ask us questions about theirs. And several of them were about old TV shows, and one was Captain Kangaroo the other day.
yeah.
Anyhow, if you watch any of the back channels, and one of the major things going on is being woke, the woke culture, oh, they're woke or whatever. And we're saying, how can these people be so asleep and walk around with their eyes closed about what's really going on in the world right now? Y'all, it's not everybody's fault. It purposely is in our food to numb us and confuse us and cloud our judgment. I firmly believe that. And if you don't believe that to be true, that's fine. I just ask that you do yourself a favor. I mean, it don't matter to me if you stay asleep or you're not aware or what have you. Of course, I want the best for you. I want the best for us all. But I encourage you to go and grab a box of your food, a package of your food, and just start researching it yourself. That's what it's. I'm not here to say, well, give you a step by step of what you need to do with your life to make it better. I'm trying to figure out my own story. But I do think that it is our responsibility to take our health into our own hands. I don't think it's anybody else's responsibility but ours. And in order to do that, you need to figure out if you're being poisoned or not by your own food.
I think sometimes during the holiday seasons we get so wrapped up in making these big meals that we go to the store and we just start grabbing stuff
Junk.
yeah, and we're in such a rush
I'm
that
guilty of that.
we don't sit there and read the labels. And of course, uh, there's some things you buy, it says no gluten on it, but I mean that could
This
be
is they say that on water just as a ploy to get it to
yeah,
sell. Yeah.
but you
But
you
I'm
you
guilty.
fill your cart with
Junk.
everything has basically the same bad ingredients in it. And as a whole, when you eat that meal, you're like you're done after that.
Well, not only that, it breaks down your immune system because
Yeah,
your body doesn't know what to do with those ingredients.
yeah,
And so it's fighting all. It's like, what do I do with this? I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put it here. And then you wonder why, everyone's like, well, I got sick going to my granddaughter's house, blah, blah, blah. Your immune system was probably compromised. And instead of being able to fight off those viruses or bacteria that it normally would, you became susceptible.
yeah,
And not only I was guilty. So this is the thing. We're cooking our Thanksgiving tomorrow. I gotta go to the grocery store today because I realized at 3 o'clock in the morning that everything I bought was the old stuff that I used to be my familiar zone, things I knew I could get done quick. So I got to get back to that Whole Foods because I refuse to feel this bad all week long. So instead of doing the instant stuffing and the instant
yeah,
gravy and the instant cream of mushroom soup. Y'all, I just bought this. I'm not, and we're transparent, but I'm going back and I'm getting my whole mushrooms and making it from scratch because it literally takes less than 10 minutes. And being purposeful with our eating.
yeah.
And my body will thank me all week long. And of course, I'm doing this
It,
for my loved ones too, but I don't want to feel like crap.
yeah, and it really, this day and time, it really takes a lot because everywhere you turn between shopping and fast food restaurants, it almost it seems like we're doomed because they give us, we don't have any options.
You do get
And
overwhelmed,
yeah,
especially now that they're talking about either they're hiding the bug ingredients. And I'm not lying about that. You can go research it yourself. They're doing it as added protein. And a friend of ours, Cupcake Carol,
yeah,
she's really on a mission to expose that. And we can go down a whole nother rabbit hole with all that. But yes, it is our responsibility to read what's in our ingredients. The best food for you to buy for the highest nutritional value is food that doesn't have ingredients. Period.
the only thing that's listed on it is nutrition.
But Surf Shop stuffing is so good. Yes, girl, but I've been making it for over a decade just as good. Just as good. And I agree. It has been purposeful. If you do some investigating phone, foods, chemtrails, etc., never ending. I know. I didn't realize until recently that GMO had been changed to bioengineered food ingredients, which usually listed below the ingredients. Isn't that something? They're always trying to hide it on us. They're always trying to hide it on us. And all of those ingredients have been associated with so many illnesses. And it just boggles my mind sometimes when you see somebody who's sick or has an ailment and they're quick to go to the doctor, they're quick to pop a pill, but they don't want to be proactive in their own health. They want to do everything but that. And I'm right there with them. And but it's we have to start taking responsibility for our health. And that means our spiritual health, our mental health, our relationship health, our financial health, our environmental health, and our physical health. It's the full circle, y'all. And well, I don't have too much time. Well, that's your prerogative, if you don't have enough time and if you want to stay in that state. But if people are really serious about wanting a quality life, they'll work on every single one of those aspects. Unfortunately, though, the food and the toxic chemicals we are exposed to does keep us in a brain fog. And I think that affects our motivation. I highly think that affects our
yeah,
motivation. Because when I'm in the fog like I am now, I'm dragging, I'm loathing the day. I have a hard time concentrating. I can't get the work done that I need to get done. I'm stressed. And then I start working, I'm sluggish. And to me, the last thing I want to do is cook a meal from scratch. It's just easier to go out to eat or pop something together in the pan and feed my family.
Yeah, I mean, when you start
It's a vicious cycle.
walking out of one room into another, and you completely forget what you went into that room for.
It's so much more than that, but
I
yeah,
know, but
it's always. But
it's like,
if you can just do it for 30 days, 30 days. I'm not saying I'm starting my 30 days today. I'm going to be honest with you. I want to because I know the difference. I know the difference of my ears finally coming unclogged and I can hear. I know the difference of waking up and my brain being clear and I can actually concentrate and focus. I've been that way for a long time and now I can feel I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in that fog again." And
yeah,
you're just not in touch.
especially as much multitasking that you have to do.
It's
It's
tough.
hard to be able to go from one thing to the other and be able to bounce back and
It's not an
totally,
age thing.
yeah.
I mean, it might be, but it's not an age thing. It's a food thing, and I know it. And that's why I feel God called us to this lifestyle to live a cleaner lifestyle. We were actually doing better at that when we lived in the city than we are now. That hurts.
I think our surroundings kind of pushed us when we lived in the city to at least have something that we could say that's we're doing that was healthy for us, and that was what we were eating, and
And
even
our
our
environmental efforts.
yeah, our in our environmental efforts, and because we were always closed in, we would leave, we'd go to work, we'd come home, and we stayed inside. We didn't go anywhere.
Now it's
Very,
opposite.
yeah,
Now we're outside so much and doing everything out in nature that when we come back in, it's like, oh, let's just do something quick.
yeah,
Let's just do something quick. And we need to find that balance because I'm feeling it, y'all. And it wasn't what a more appropriate time to talk about this food when it's affecting me in such a negative way. And because that's what happened when we first moved here. I had to go to an allergist because every time we went out, I'd come home, my eyes would be swelled up, my lips would be swelled up, I'm hives all over,
yeah,
fighting a daily headache. And it was the food that I was eating. It still is the food that I'm eating. And I was like, no wonder. I'm sitting here looking at it, I'm allergic to half the crap, the other half I can't pronounce. And um, it's purposely, on the websites, and I'm not talking about crunchy mom sites. I'm talking to like government websites, the Mayo Clinic and stuff, that it causes confusion on purpose, or it causes irritability, or it causes headaches, and it's used in cosmetics, and it's used in paint. And it's like, why is it in our food? The best food is the food that doesn't have ingredients. And we need to get there because just like my friend Linda said, but stovetop stuffing is so good. It is, but you can duplicate it. I have for years. It's very possible with homemade things that don't have ingredients. There we go.
yeah.
Candy dehydrate individual ingredients used to be something I was into. I have to get back there. Boyd, honey, how are you? Um, And yes, absolutely. The more of your food you grow organic, the healthier you will be. Absolutely. Y'all, I mean, y'all are on the same page. We need to help work together. And that's why we have our Facebook groups to help encourage each other doing this. I have a group called oh, wait.
Totally forgot.
My Homestead Life Healthy Eating Group, Healthy Eating Living. Oh, booger. Yeah, I've been running that page for almost a decade now.
Yeah,
It's an accountability group. And you post what you eat, you can share recipes. Of course, it used to be really, really active and it has slowed down. And I think that has a lot to do with people pulling away from that healthy lifestyle. And we're still in there, but we're not doing as much because that hasn't been priority to
hmm.
us. How do you feel now? You're skinny. People go, oh, you're skinny. You don't need it.
Oh, I'm still. I don't know. My mind isn't what it used to be. I can't multitask, and
How's your energy level?
Energy levels okay. I've got my days. I would much rather walk downhill than walk uphill. If
But
that
one of
makes
the
any
things that you
sense.
quit a while ago that's changed your life, and he's gonna say, is what did you quit? For the most part.
Yeah, sugar.
Sugar. He did it, y'all. Of course, we still have he still has sodas when we go out. We don't buy sodas for our house. And we're working on that. And the reason here's his argument. The reason why he drinks sodas when we go out, because the water here is horrific. It's horrific, y'all. It tastes the chemical taste is so off the charts when we go out to eat that you can smell it when they bring it to the table.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
That's what's on my Christmas list that I probably won't get this year, but it is a travel Berkey
Yeah.
because I can't drink soda and my kidneys won't let me, which is fine. But in my head won't let me, which is good. Like I said, it's been a double-edged sword. It's a curse and a blessing that I'm having reactions to pretty much everything I put in my body when it's prepackaged. But so I can't drink soda, so I have to drink the water. And I don't do plastic bottled water, so don't even go there. I don't do it. I do if it's the only thing for me to drink, but most of the time I bring my own. Um, but the sodas, you got off the sugar, and I've seen a big difference in you. You don't crave it. You used to have it every single
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
And when he had it, guess what
And
I would
that, I
do?
mean, that is it makes a lot of sense when you quit it and you don't crave it. You can walk right by it. I mean, that's you know,
That's one thing that I've been so impressed because we've been together 27
uh,
years, and I have never seen you do that.
now I will say this: sometimes you have to ask God to remove these desires because when they have that much of effect on your life and you're letting it control you, and it's just not good. It's
When you don't even realize that it's in control. I
I
mean, as
know.
a human species, we like to feel like we're in control of our own.
Yeah.
But this is the thing is we need to take more control and more responsibility, especially if we want to have I mean, forget losing weight, all right? Not that that's off the table because a fit body is a healthy body ish. And because it goes to the whole environmental health, your spiritual health, your financial health, all of it. Good morning, Daddy. Good morning, y'all. But it's also our mental health is where I'm talking about as far as the chemicals and the additives in the food and why we need to eat whole food. Try it for 30 days. Like let that be, New Year's resolution goal where you de-ingredient your pantry. And we can work on it together. I'm not saying we're not going to do it. I'm not going to say we're doing it. I want to do it. Let's put it that way. And I think we need to encourage each other. And we can do that I found it's the easiest way to do that is to be able to duplicate the taste we're familiar with whole foods. So I'm not saying, oh, you can't ever have Hidden Valley Ranch because if you are a Hidden Valley Ranch connoisseur, you're not willing to give it up. But if I can give you a recipe with whole foods that taste just like it, not diet version, then you're more apt to switch. And that's what we need to do is be able to have the healthy option for the things that you've come accustomed to and enjoy, like stovetop stuffing. And for that, I need to be more aware of what I'm eating. I just started a drug that lowers my immune system. Yes, Linda, absolutely. Of anybody that needs it, you definitely need it because your body is fighting those ingredients all the time. It doesn't know what to do with them. It doesn't know how to apply what you're eating as a nutrient source for the food that your body needs.
And you wonder why we're exhausted because our bodies are working trying to figure
Process it.
out process how to process all of these
Chemicals and everything.
yeah
Yeah.
so-called ingredients.
So like you got a question. It's like, why is it in there? That's a good question. Why is it even in there?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised at that real answer. But anyways, we're gonna get our day going because I've got to go buy whole food ingredients now. And I'd like to say that, oh, I have a bunch of food to donate, now because I'm not putting this other stuff in our bodies, but I'm not even gonna donate it because why would I want to hurt somebody else?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm not gonna use it and I'm not gonna donate it. It's going in the trash. Lesson learned. Expensive lesson learned. But anyhow, y'all have a blessed day.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining us for coffee. Bye.
Bye.